Alright, welcome back to Space Buick. This is my redesigned Kepler R to have everything, including the kitchen sink, as best I could and actually make it a decent ship. I kept it as Stroud Eklund looking as possible. Kept most of the parts. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't change that much. I just reduced a lot of it. To get to where we are now. All the same on the top. Colorings are factory. I didn't change anything. Tried to match the parts that weren't Stroud, like the shield there, the what are those, Nova landing gear. It has the brake, even though you can't see it because I painted it black. The whole bottom is painted black. It's supposed to be subtle. Like, there are plenty of weapons, but except for these big boys that are the automated turrets, they're all kind of just, I wouldn't say hidden, but they're not right up in view. And I went with a little heavier of a 40 power reactor because it's got kind of a luxury look to it, and I put it on display. Not the best way to do it for game mechanics, but it fits and it matches the butt end of the weapons. I did change the engines. This provided me 100 mobility with a level of storage that you're going to be like, what? It has expansion plates, plenty of points, hard points for the weapons, because that was part of Jules' compromise, that it didn't have to have all the weapons. It's got more than enough weapons. It's so powerful right now, I don't have to shoot at anything, usually. So we're going to go in and take a look-see. Same, a lot of everything. I didn't change a whole lot other than made it so you don't walk into a 1x1. We now have a 3x1. This is their living quarter. So, nice set of beds. You do have one ladder. Additional beds here. Come into the 2x1. Actually, the 3x1 I think is the living quarters. We'll show you in depth when we go into the builder. Come across, doors in the same spot. Now you got a captain's quarters. You don't climb up into the captain's quarters. It is the one I don't like with that crappy cot, but at least it's complete in this build. So one level up. You do come up into a 1x1 this time. That was to force the ladder in this location, and this is also how you dock. So now we don't have to go up 3 stories just to be able to dock, from already going up 3 stories to get to it. Proper science lab. Do have a little bit of a view. There's not a whole lot of windows, but that's just because of how I placed everything to keep it to one ladder. It was difficult. Battle stations, I don't love having the battle stations, but it is what it is, and the previous ship had a battle stations. It does not have the mess hall. I did take that out. Same cockpit, which I do like their Viking cockpit. It's a nice one. Are you two causing trouble? Same. Oh wow, it's an adult version. Oh my god. Oh whoa, they're even doing the same things. Oh, this is creeping me out. They have the same mannerisms. Rosie is a grown-up Cora. That's really freaking me out right now. They're even dipping the same. Oh, okay, I gotta stop looking at that because that's creeping me out. So yeah, very nice ship. I love the way it takes off. I will go ahead and add the takeoff to this video, and then we'll jump into the builder. The way it looks as it takes off, I know that's just a simple little thing, but it's really cool.
Ready here.
You can power everything up. I love how these landing gear turn. But it kind of reminds me of the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, it's not the right shape, but the engines kind of remind me of that. So
Apogee
that's pretty
kit
cool.
complete. Orbit steady.
Oh! Hello. I guess we're going to fight as soon as we come out of here. What do we got going on here? Why aren't my automated missiles weapons firing?
That was a pretty shot at their grav drive.
Their shields are gone. Take them out.
I think I know why. I don't have T-Detect on. That's why. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll come back at you with the builder's video in a moment. Alright, we are going to see how I believe my ship that I rebuilt looks just like Stroud ships.
Let me show you our stock.
So if you come in here now, this is pretty far into it, so they're going to have the Tier 3 stuff. So you can see, if you were to take the middle section out of this, it'd basically be the ship I just built. Minus, I've got a few other things. I mean, it's got, like, I literally have this piece with those in front of it, with those beside. I mean, it is basically the same ship I built. I just condensed mine. Further down, they use the brake right there. They're using similar weapons. The side, I didn't change that. I have a little trick that I'll show you in a minute that I cheated and saved one thing. But if we go, this is just a fatter version, essentially. Same thing. It's the same kind of design using this part right here that I use on my ship, which they had on there also. This one, of course, is a little different than what they normally build. Certainly has a... I've always loved that shield, a little vertical stack. It's kind of neat. Same thing. See, it's got the double thing. This is their kind of... I don't know, modus operandi. That's their design style. And there's just a real... That's a sandwich. That's a Subway sandwich right there. That's a big fat sandwich. Why? Why do you need that kind of a ship? That's so silly. Same thing. Sandwiched up here. So, if you're looking at those...
Nice to see you again. How can I... Let me show you our stock.
And then looking at this, you can see, obviously, these are not used in the Strouds, but it was used in ours. That was in ours. You can see there are striking similarities to how the Stroud looks in comparison to how I rebuilt the Kepler R. Let's go over some stats real quick, then I'll cut the video, I'll pop back in again, and I'll have it all disassembled, and we'll rebuild it. So, starting out, we had 24 power. We now have 40. 41's because I have a crew member. There was 30 light years. We got 30 light years. 6 crew. We now have 9 crew. Technically, we only need 8, but that's fine. 3 passengers. This now has 7 total capable passengers. It had 2652 mass. I've gone up a bit, to say the least. 999 hull. I'm up to 1485. That almost entirely came from adding this reactor back here, which has a ton of hull. 2800 fuel down to 650. I literally picked the furthest spot on the left and the furthest spot on the right, and I was able to jump it just fine. Granted, I have Sarah, and I also have 4 of 4 in astrodynamics. And I think I've picked up, I don't know, 2 or 3 magazines. 3550 cargo. Now that I'm going to have to actually go into the builder. It has 5175 cargo from 3550. And I did sneak these little bastards in there. I snuck 2 of these in here. They're hidden inside because I don't care for the look of them on this kind of ship. But they're there. So we had 805 shield. We now have 1600 shield with this guy right here. We had 130 speed. We're still at 130 speed, but I changed the engine type to go from 55 mobility up to 100 mobility. So this, just in those numbers right there, is mountains better. I want to say the power was like 48 and 57 or something like that, and we've just gone up dramatically. Now this number here is because I have an rank 2, I think it is, in automated. This 126 for the obliterators is because I have rank 4 in particle weapons. So now I do have a crew member. Unfortunately, I've checked before and after I hired her, and it didn't make any difference. I do not remember when I had Barrett if it made any difference, but I have seen people on the internet with this weapon with 3600 range, and I only have 3000. Possibly that's what Barrett's 3-star, rank 3 particle beam weapon systems did. The one chick I hired is 1-star because I don't have Barrett anymore. So, take it for what it is. Alright, I'll be back in just a moment. We'll have it all tore down. Alright, we are back, and this is going to be the build version. I have this tore down into the 3 levels. It is only 3 levels. So the top is all completely superfluous except for the docker. The docker is accessed from level 2 right here. So you don't actually climb a ladder up into it for those that are unaware how this docker works. This isn't a hab. It looks like a hab, but you actually enter it from right there. You exit. You don't climb up into this and then click it one more time. So that helps because it flushes the top of this without having to go into anything further. There are fake portholes up here that helps with breaking up the line a little bit without adding too big of things, because there is only one snap point on the top. If I wanted to add any kind of flare in the structural, there's only one snap point, and it kind of makes... I would love to do a spine all across here. Start small, get bigger, or even just this 3, but you can't. There isn't a 3-part spine like that. Kind of like the bladed wings for Deimos. So we are at Stroud right now, and I cannot add anything that isn't Stroud. So if you look at this, I built it kind of like a Tesla, actually. So you have the carriage, then you have the meat of the vehicle, then you have the roof system. So it has, starting at the bottom, you've got the Stroud braking engine up front, and you have the caps on both sides. So nothing spectacular about this, but this just feels out the front end of it. You come into a cowling. There's going to be a lot of use of cowlings, and the cowlings were for kind of getting this curve to it. I realize the habs don't have it, but it still looks nice having the curve. You should kind of start with it here, and you go back. So it does help. Having these all black makes it a little hard to see them all, but it is what it is. And I forgot and left my windows just hanging off. That's funny. So HopeTech landing gear didn't change it at all. The landing bay didn't change it at all. In fact, it had a lot of these cowlings on it as well. And so I just kind of ran with the cowlings. So we went with a 3x1 Stroud all-in-one berth. This gave me the most distance to separate the lower living section from the upper living section. And that is to force a ladder in only one place by usage of a companionway. Then we come back here, and because these 2x1s don't exceed anywhere else, it forces the door right here. This is part of best practices. This makes it so that the door literally can't go anywhere else because this can't walk into nothing. So you actually have rooms. This 10 right here could honestly be 8, and you could put another 2x1 there. You could also put, let's see, this side. This side you can't because you've got that, but you could put a 3x1 over here. And then you could put a 3x1 and a 2x1 over here if you chose to, or this whole space could end up being the 3x2 instead of the 2x3 mess hall if you chose to do it that way. So there are tons of options of how you can build it. We'll actually reduce the weight by doing so. but you're gonna find a little more difficult time with ladders. Like if you had a 3x2 here, it could possibly pop a ladder anywhere around here, and it becomes a bit of a problem in doing so. Even still, just doing it this way, there's still no guarantee the ladder will be right here and not here, or a ladder here and a ladder here. It's an unfortunate system that we have. So captain's quarters, just kept that. Added a 2x1 living quarters. So we have the all-in-one, we have the living quarters, and the cap. So the entire main deck is your living spaces. And this is how we get extra passengers. So we got the 2 there, we got the 2 there. We had 3 on the other one. Am I missing something? Oh, I must have had something that I don't have on this. We only gained 1 passenger slot. I am wrong. Alright, so we're going to go back. I changed from 7 400 fuel tanks to 1 singular 650 fuel tank. This gets me everywhere. I could probably even have a 550, but this 650 works perfectly fine. Grav drive I didn't touch. Same direct grav drive. I even looked to see if I could find another 45 that was less weight, but I couldn't. Big boy reactor. I just went with the biggest they had. Stroud had at its shop. There is a different one you can put on here that has more snap points. And it weighs less. Let's see. This is 129 and that one's 105, I think, or 115. So you could do less mass by going with the other one, but I like the look of this. It gives a nice look. It's on display. So you got your caps on both sides. And then these engines I changed from these are lots of engines right here, the Poseidons. And I changed from the Supernovas. So if you look at the Supernovas, they have a lot of thrust, but 7,600 maneuvering. The Poseidons just blow them out of the water. But you can only have 3. However, that 3 is how I got to 100 mobility. From, even with 4 of these, the best I was able to get, I think in the final, I was able to get it to 91 with this setup with 4 of these. I had a little bit different design on it because obviously 4 of these don't fit 3 across like that, so I had a little bit different back wing. But going to these, it's only a tiny bit faster. I think it was only 5 faster than 4 of these. So I'm not really concerned about that, but it was the 100 mobility, and I wasn't willing to give up the 100 mobility. Looks great, though. But it was expensive to toss these and this guy. I mean, it's a lot of money right here. This whole build, I don't remember how much it costs to register it, but this whole build was about $280,000 with Commerce 4. So it wasn't cheap. So second level, you have your cockpit. I didn't change that. I did change the... By the way, this does require all the skills. It requires Starship Design 4 and it requires Pilot 4. And that's because this grav drive that it came with, granted, this is a quest reward. And being that it is a quest reward, technically you could use whatever it came with as long as you had Piloting 4. But since I'm using the mindset that since it already required Starship Design 4, I added other things that require Starship Design 4. So, like this fuel tank saves me so much weight and space by having a single fuel tank, but it required Starship Design 4. So, then you got your caps, both sides. Now, these weapons don't fit normally, and I will explain that here in a second. If I take this off, do you see how... See how there's this little nub sticking up right here? If I try to put this on here, it won't go. So this is the trick. This is the glitch you can use. I don't like using glitches in these videos. I want to do them all glitch free, but I wasn't willing to put these weapons anywhere else. The other place I had them was here, I think, and it just didn't look right. They sat too high and it was too prominent. So drag it over. I'm still holding the mouse and I'm going to hit Z until it's back in that position. I'm going to let go of the mouse, hear the click, and then I'm going to escape. And there it is. Now it's on. This is for PC. It's a little different for console. I don't know the exact thing, but it's the same. You back out of the menu is essentially what you're doing. So we have the battle stations. I didn't change that. It's the same thing. I did change from the infirmary to the science lab to fit with the gal who wanted a science exploration ship. So these were on there already, and I just moved where they're at. This companionway, they were all storerooms before. I changed it to a companionway. Usually, again, best practices, usually by putting a companionway, that's where the ladder is going to snap to. It doesn't always work, but usually it does. Now you can see these aren't actually connected here. That's because it's connected on the bottom, but I have to have this because there's no other way to get this winglet connected. I shouldn't say kept. I did delete all of these and then I put these back on to get me just that much extra storage. So on this upper deck, you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could place a 3x1 here and a 3x1 here if you wanted to, because you're straddling the engine systems. And you're going to be concerned with possibly popping ladders here and here. So do that at your own risk. You could put a ladder on either one of those and either one of those by pushing more halves up here. However, it would save weight. You'd lose a little bit of cargo, but quite frankly, I have so much cargo it's kind of ridiculous. So then you go back. These were already on the ship, the Stroud nose caps, and I added the regular cap A on the back. It has the plates, so I did buy a couple of plates. I'm not too concerned with it because there's Nova right there. There's no Hope Tech right there, so it already had things that, and these were already on the ship. It had things already that were not of Stroud design, so I just took a little bit of liberty, and that is I added the Tayo plates, and this guy right here is this one. This right here is a Deimos Docker, because it had the closest look to its companion part. Stroud does not have this kind of Docker. So, it is what it is. And then I did 3 of these big bad boys. So this is where most of the extra weight came from. When I took all of these out, I added 3 of these. That alone made it more storage. But as I got further into it, I'm like, what else can I put? And that takes up all of that, so we're going to do this. We're going to drag this back on over. Right there. What did we miss? The plates. Of course we did. You know, if there's plates on it, you would think it would just automatically know to push it on there. So we go to the top. The top is really just for display purposes, because that kind of looks weird. You know what I mean? Sure, I could have cinched that down a little bit, but yeah, it kind of looks weird like that. So it's like, meh, that's fine. So same thing. I just took these from, I didn't have any of these. I did add the nose cap, so front and back, just to give it a nice look. And then these 3x1 cowls. I don't know how many of you even know about this thing. It's great. you fit 3 by 1 space, and it only takes up 10 mass. It's outstanding. And these Nova portholes, I don't think Stroud sell those either. This cowling, both sides, you just flip it if you need it. So you can do this. So flip it to that side. Go back to this side. Works out great. These do not flip. You have to click on it to actually add the other one. So it did already have 2 weapon mounts, and I just reused them. I painted them to match Stroud as much as I could. Wish you could paint the weapons too. I'd like these weapons to blend in. But alas, it won't let us. Right? It doesn't let us, right? Yeah, nope. Doesn't give me the option. Nope. Thank you. So, 6 of the Vanguard Obliterators. That's my A gun, and that's what I use when I need to get their attention. Usually I don't need to, but if I need to get their attention, I do. Otherwise, these particle weapons they do everything for me. These auto turrets just kill everything. And yeah. So it's pretty nice. We're gonna click all this. Zippity doo dah over here, like that. And now you have Space Buick. It touches as many of the bases as I could. I'll go over them one more time. So, an exploration citizen scientist. So it has the science lab. There are other things that help with that. It's not too expensive. It's kind of mid-grade. So total price on this, like I said, is $280 plus registration fee. Figure $300, maybe $350 if you don't have Commerce 4 like I do. There's also some magazines that permanently reduce the price by X%. I just can't remember what they're called. So still cheaper than just going out and buying a class, an end game, end game. So the level 3 class C ships, and you're still going to have to change things. They're not going to come built with all the firepower, the big shield, the big grav drive, the big reactor, and everything that I've got on this. So you're still going to have to do things with it. Cargo runner, we can tell it's got lots of cargo. Luxury craft, okay, it isn't as luxury as I would like it, but there are some touches, like, the kind of brassy, goldeny color that somewhat matches the backs of those, which also somewhat matches the portals on the top. And if you look closely, this little ribbon right here kind of matches Stroud, their little Stroud nameplate there, somewhat. So, okay, luxury craft, I didn't quite get that. But it's nice, it's sleek, it's compact, and does everything you need it to. It does have a nice appearance. So it's not some big janky thing. So I could see a person with money going, all right, it's not my luxury yacht, but all right. Recreational craft, family outings. You've got all kinds of living spaces in this thing. And because you would probably be some random family out there, right? You're not going to have a military crew on there knowing how to... So the weapons just fire for themselves. You get jumped by bandits when you're going to the moons of Saturn, and the weapons blow them up for you, and you don't have to do anything. Also, cost on that. This is cheaper, granted, because we got it for free with a quest reward, but this is cheaper than buying a fully kitted out Class C. And then we had all the firepower. Okay, so it's a little light. I did provide expansion points, and it has additional hard points for guns. So you can add more if you choose to add more, but it has enough power at this point with 2 full weapon groups that it just obliterates anything anyway. There's going to be a video here at the end that shows me going against 3 Starborn level 76s, and I just sit there, and it's kind of funny. Now, I don't play on very hard difficulty either, but I know this would work. I have tested this before in it. So yeah, I think it works quite well. It has the look of a Stroud. It looks almost exactly like some of the Stroud that you see. minus these big bad boys. But since they came with it, I think it's fair game in that respect. Little bit of luxury, not too much, but I think it ticks all the buttons quite well. Alright, we'll see you back in a bit with a little bit of pew-pew. So we got 3, 4... Jesus, how many is there? Yeah, 3 of the Guardians, the Starborn, that they... It's not theirs!
You've done well. My ship kept...
Close to this castle.
I'm just letting my automated weapons do the work. And they're gone. 3 level 76s against the redesigned Star Eagle that I'm calling Space Buick. Space Buick does good work. For only having 4, that's all it's got for automated weapons. Pretty impressive stuff. Very nice. Thanks for watching.